Well, hello and welcome to episode 5 of the F1 Weekly Series. And boy, I have a lot to talk about after we had a thrilling Bahrain Grand Prix. Basically, what I'm going to do first is summarise what actually happened in the race. And then I'm going to go into more of the details. So into turn 1, obviously Hamilton eased past Rosberg. And Massa also made a good start to get up to 3rd. And then Hulkenberg passing Alonso. I'm basically reading this from the gallery on the F1 site. But even before the safety car, I think it was an absolutely thrilling race. Force India, I think, were a very good team. I was really pleased to see Force India do so well. What a day that they had. And then, but unlucky Sutil, he had to retire just because of Bianchi. And Bianchi's now on 4 penalty points. I think we are probably going to see someone with a race ban towards the end of the season because of this penalty point system. Because that's because Mercedes drivers don't have any yet. Neither do the Force Indias. And then the Mercedes were battling away. Somehow Hamilton was able to keep Rosberg behind when he pitted. Obviously he pulled away. But there was a lot of battling in the midfield. And even before the safety car, I was on my feet because it was an absolutely thrilling race even before the safety car. And then the safety car came out because Maldonado took out Gutierrez in a spectacular crash. And I think Maldonado did get off very lightly because, 3 penalty points and I think it's a 5-place grid penalty. It's just not enough for the incident that he caused. And I think if he wants to drive well and be a respected driver, he needs to get his act together because it's been going on for the past 4 years now. Ever since he started in F1, people have been controversial about his driving. I think he really does need to get his act together. For example, there have been so many incidents. For example, the infamous one in Valencia 2012, and when he took it, and also the infamous one in Silverstone 2012 as well. Obviously, they were probably the most controversial ones, but I think he just really does need to just get his act together, because otherwise no one's going to like him. And Gutierrez was quite lucky in the crash. Obviously, he went over, and if it wasn't for the F1 safety of today, where they have to make sure that the head doesn't touch the ground overall by checking to see if the head actually touches. I think they use a ruler to check if the head touches the ruler when measuring from the roll hoop to the top of the engine cover, not the T-cam, because that was obviously what collapsed. But thanks to that, he got out completely unhurt. And obviously McLaren had a terrible day. Obviously both McLarens retired with similar issues. Obviously they do have. Obviously I think they have the third quickest car on the grid. I think at the moment the order, in terms of who's got a quick car, is first it's Mercedes, then it's Red Bull, then it's McLaren, then it's Williams and Force India are equal, then it's Ferrari. Ferrari are obviously really struggling. I think they could struggle to get a race win this year. And obviously Ricciardo pulled off a good drive. I was really pleased when he passed Vettel. He really did put up a statement to say that he's not willing to settle as a number 2 driver. And that was just so good to see. And obviously the battle between the two Mercedes went on right to the end. It was quite tense. And literally, it was really tense. And then, in the end, it was Hamilton that won. And it was also very good to see after the race, both Mercedes drivers respected each other after the battle. They are, unlike we've seen some others in the past, for example, the 2 Red Bulls, when Vettel and Webber were teammates. But that's all I'm going to talk about in terms of my summary of the race. So in terms of the pole position trophy, obviously Hamilton has 2 poles and Rosberg has 1. So that means that Hamilton still leads it. The driver standings, obviously Rosberg leads by 11 points back to Lewis Hamilton in second. Nico Hulkenberg in third. I think he's had a fabulous start this season with Alonso in fourth. Obviously, he's been quite consistent with Button in fifth and Vettel in sixth and Magnussen in seventh. Bottas in eighth. Perez in ninth. Ricciardo in 10th and Massa in 11th. And Raikkonen in 12th. And what's interesting also is the top 12 are filled up by 6 teams. Mercedes, Force India, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull and Williams. The rest, obviously, I don't think have cars capable of winning races at their current state. In terms of constructors, Mercedes lead the championship by quite a way, double the points that second place Force India have. McLaren 1 point behind Force India in third, ahead of Red Bull in fourth and Ferrari in fifth and Williams in sixth. The top 6 are way ahead of everybody else. Obviously, all I've got to say now is what a race it was. And I was actually quite lucky I was able to watch it because I literally came back from a relative's house like 3 minutes before the formation lap, literally, and then it was obviously by far. I mean, how is this happening? Bahrain never produced exciting racing until last year was good, but obviously that no way matches what we saw this year. This year, that incredible titanic battle between the two Mercedes. Anyway, that's about it. And we'll see you next week for the 6th episode of my F1 Weekly podcast, where I'm going to preview the Chinese Grand Prix and also talk about what's been going on in the past week in terms of F1, talk about what's been going on in the Bahrain test. See ya next week. Also, before I go, my Formula Xbox season starts this weekend. As I was unable to attend Australia Formula Xbox, obviously, because as I said, I was at a relative's house. But I will be uploading the highlights as always to this channel, and we'll see you for my next video. Goodbye.